Hey, I'm Steve Krenz for Guitar Gathering. Thank you for joining us on this lesson about great chord moves in the key of D. This is part of a series that we're doing on great moves that you can make within guitar-friendly keys. And the guitar-friendly keys are C, G, D, A, and E. And this session we're going to be talking about chords in the key of D. So instead of just playing the standard, D, G, and A, I'm going to show you some different moves that you can make kind of to take your playing from more of an amateur sound to a little bit more of a professional sound, using some simple moves and these variations in the chords. There is a PDF that goes along with this, so take a second to download that. The link is in the YouTube description down below. Take a look at that first page. Well, if you have a D chord, most everybody else is going to be just kind of strumming along with a D chord. But if you're doing that for any length of time, sometimes it's good to add some movement there. So we're going to put our pinky down, and we're going to make that D into a D suspended occasionally. So we're going to put that pinky down on the first string. Maybe we can even practice hammering down. Maybe even the pull-off from the hammer-ons and pull-offs kind of give a little bit more of a professional sound. Another way I can put that suspended note, which is the fourth note of the scale, is I can lower that note, which is a G, I can lower that an octave. And if I just take my first finger off, I end up with a lowering that G an octave, and I'm just going to play kind of the fourth, the third, and the second string. It's another way to add that suspended in there. If you're doing maybe an intro for a song, it's a good way to add some movement. Take a look at the top of the next page. Another one-finger move that we can make is to create from a D chord, we're going to go to a D2 chord. We're going to add that second note of the scale, which in the key of D would be an E. So in order to do that, I'm going to take my second finger, which is on that first string, and I'm going to take him off. And that gives me a very nice sounding, modern sounding D2. So I can go from a D to a D suspended, but now I can also go from a D to a D2. Maybe I can even hammer on that second finger. Pull off. Maybe I can combine it with the suspendeds. All of these little movements create some interest in your playing rather than just playing the static chord. Take a look at the next one. We've done a bunch of them on the 1 chord, the key of D, which is the D chord. What about the 2 chord? All right, and the 2 chord in the key of D is going to be an E minor. So instead of playing this big E minor, which is nothing's wrong with it, but let's see if we can make something more interesting with it. Another interesting thing you could do is turn it into an E minor ninth by taking your second finger and putting that on the 4th string of the 2nd fret. And we're going to slide him up 2 frets to the 3rd position here. So he's at the 4th string at the 4th fret. And then I've still got that open G there. And I'm going to add my first finger on the 2nd string at the 3rd fret. Oh, and I get a wonderful sounding E minor 9th chord. It's almost, if you want to think of it, kind of the bottom half of a C chord, just slid up 2 frets. But if I start on this E here and then slide up to that F sharp, it gets a wonderful little tension there. That's a great move you can do on the E minor, the 2 minor chord in the key of D. All right, we've done something on the 1, the 2. What about the 4 chord? All right, the 4 chord in the key of D is a G. So in the key of D, you're going to be playing a lot of Gs. And most everybody's going to be playing it like this. Well, here's a great move that you can do to add some interest right there. Just take that 2nd finger, which is on the 5th string. We're going to move him down to the 3rd string at the 2nd fret and creating a G2 chord. Maybe I can even hammer on there. Now, one thing, when I'm in this shape, I'm not playing the 5th string. He's kind of muted out. So the fleshy part of your third finger is kind of touching that string. And so that leaves that going from the 6th string to the 4th string. So that 5th string muted is in there, but you don't really hear it when you're strumming. And that's playing all 6 strings. We'll take a look at the middle example there. What if I did just the bottom 4, kind of muted it down? Still going back between the G2 and the G. What if I did, take a look at the third example there. What if I switched my fingers around, made my 2nd finger on this G, and I have my D and G over here, a really good power G5. And that leaves my 1st finger to catch this A on the 2nd string at the 2nd, or the 3rd string at the 2nd fret. All right, we've got it on the 1, the 2, the 4. What about the 5 chord? Well, an A7th would be typically what you'd be playing as a 5 chord in the key of D. What can I do there? Well, I can add my pinky on that 2nd string at the 3rd fret. Just creating a little bit of movement there. All right, basically everything that we've done so far has involved just one finger. So take a look at the next page. This will be page 3, and let's talk about things that involve more than one finger and get to some different sounding things in the key of D. All right, so take a look at page 3. We're gonna switch from this D down here to up here at the 7th fret at the 4th, the 3rd, and the 2nd string. We're gonna do a 1-finger bar, which creates a D triad. It's actually the same notes as the top D there. And with that as our D, now I'm going to put my 3rd finger and my 2nd finger and create a little G triad there. And I actually don't even need to change the bar. I'm just going to add my 3rd finger and my 2nd finger on the 4th and 2nd strings. And I end up with a wonderful combination here. Very, very stereotypical thing that you would hear in the key of D. I can even add my 3rd finger on the 3rd of the chord here on that F sharp on the 5th string at the, what is that, the 9th fret. And so I end up with that. What if I even slid into it maybe? Or maybe I could just do individual notes up to. What is that Doobie Brothers song, Listen to the Music, that they use that exact same shape in there. Another way that I can do it is, if I look at the 3rd measure on that line, is I can add my pinky to the 1st string at the 10th fret, creating this D chord shape like this. And then when I add the G to it, I can just keep my pinky down there. For something a little higher pitched, almost sounds like a mandolin up there. All right, take a look at the next one. Here's another way of using that bar shape. We're going to this time be back down here for this A. And I'm going to use, for the A, I'm going to use my bar on the 2nd fret this time, on the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th string, and I'm going to do my same move, just like I did before, but this time it's forming a D chord. So I'm going from basically kind of a D with an A, back to the A. All right, that's a great move. Can we use it anywhere else? All right, well, you look at the last example on that page. We've got something now for the 6th minor, the B minor, in the key of D. So if I do that same move, this time I'm barring all the way down to the 5th string here, and I'm adding the 3rd and 2nd finger on it. a little movement that I could do on the 6th chord. Well, let's do it to the other minor that we could do it in the key of D, which would be the E minor. So if I take this shape and move it right back up to the 7th position where we started, now I have an E minor going back to this D with an E in the bass here with the bar. So out of this one move, we can do it. We've gotten 4 great chord moves out of that one little combination of the bar going to the 3rd and 2nd finger there. All right, take a look at the next page. We're going to start getting into progressions now. Again, in the key of D, you're going to be doing a lot of going to the 4 chord, the D to the G. Well, is there a convenient way, a more interesting way to get between the two? And I'm gonna say if you add the D with an F sharp in the bass, right before that G, you end up with a chord progression that sounds like this. It creates a little bit of a lift. That F sharp going to that G helps that chord progression right there. So what did we do there? We've got a D, and then we have to switch our fingers around. I've got my 2nd finger on the low F sharp, 3rd finger on the A, pinky on the D, and then thought I'd go to a G2 there. Not playing that 1st string there. Now if you're unfamiliar with that D with an F sharp shape, just a little bit of practice and you'll get that underneath your fingers, and that's a great shape to know when you're doing chords in the key of D and need to get to a G chord. Throw that D with an F sharp in front of it. All right, we can do the same trick on the 5 chord. So the 5 chord is an A, maybe an A7th. And then what if I did an inversion of the A7th and I put the 3rd of the A7th, which is a C sharp, and created a little bit of shape like this. You could play it like that, but sometimes that's a little hard to play. So if I move my 3rd finger down and kind of mute out that 4th string, I end up with my 3rd finger on the 5th string at the 4th fret, 1st finger at the 3rd string at the 2nd fret, and then the rest is open. And I ended up with this beautiful A2 with a C sharp in the bass. So listen to that, how that sounds, and gets us back to the key of, back to us to the D. Just adding that little 3rd in the bass of that A helps us get to that D that's coming. So that little trick of using inversions has gotten us from the 1 to the 4 and now from the 5 to the 1. Take a look at the next line down, now the last line on page 4. All right, this is just a little refresher that we can do using the 3rd in the bass on all of the 4 major chords, the 1, the 4, the 5, the D, now to the G. Here's a G with a B in the bass here. 1st finger on this B, 3rd finger on that D. Then the A. Hear how much just interest that brings to the whole progression when you're just playing with some inversions and adding some different inversions there. All right, just 1 or 2 more. Take a look at the last page there. Another common progression that you're going to see in the key of D a lot is a 2-5 progression, an E minor to an A. Well, is there a way that we could do something creative there? Okay, yeah, there is. I'm going to put my pick away. We're going to do fingerstyle here for a second. And we're going to throw our little trick that we did for the E minor, and then go to the A sus, resolving to the A7th, to the D. All right, so listen to hear how that sounds. Okay, I'll play it again, too, again, and... a very beautiful sounding way to get a common progression, 2, 5, 1 in the key of D. And you can vary it up as the musical situation that you're playing in needs. Take a look at the last one. Another trick that we can do is walk-ups and walkdowns. So we can walk up from the 1 to the 4, the D to the G. I can walk down from the G to the D. I can walk from the A to the D and walk up the scale there. So we end up with a progression that sounds like this. I'll play that again. So we're walking up to the G and then back down. Ready, and... So you just have to learn these little E minor 7th there, D with the F sharp, G2. Most of these chords we've done in some shape, but adding the walk up and walk down creates a wonderful thing, especially if you're accompanying a singer or something like that. Take a look at the last one there. We can do a walk up from the key of from the 5 to the 1, A7. I'll do that again. All right, so those are some great moves that you can do in the key of D to really kick your playing up and make it sound a little bit more professional. Hope you enjoy learning those. Practice them, do them, hammer-ons and pull-offs and some various musical situations, and see if your playing doesn't have a new shine to it when you're playing something in the key of D. Hey, I'm Steve Krenz for Guitar Gathering. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.